Can you talk about this idea of like people having a plan versus not having a plan?
So I want everyone to answer yes or no. Have you sat down at your computer and mapped out a full plan of how exactly you're going to get to become a millionaire within the next 2 to 5 years? Have you, whatever the time frame is, have you sat down and mapped out, okay, so I'm going to work this job and I'm going to try to network and I'm going to do this and I'm going to invest in this? Yes or no? Have you guys done this before? Okay, so becoming a millionaire is a top 1% or top 0.1% achievement, much the same as becoming a national level athlete at a given sport. Do you think you can become a professional soccer player without some sort of plan of getting there? Do you think it can just happen by accident? You can just kick a few soccer balls. Oops, I'm on the national team. I'm on the international soccer team. Yes or no? Answer in the chat. Do you think you can become a top level soccer professional player by accident? No. So half of you said no. Half of you will miserably fail to ever achieve wealth with your current trajectory. Half of you have no clue what you're doing. So the other half, you have a plan. Congratulations. You've done the bare minimum to become a millionaire. So the plan is really important, because if you have a goal, you have to have some sort of process to get there. Like, how the fuck are you going to become a millionaire if you don't even know what you're going to do? What, you're just gonna guess it? You're just gonna wake up day to day?
Cool. Okay. So guys, welcome Daniel to the chat, or to the call. As I've been hyping him up the past couple days, Daniel worked with Andrew Tate from the start of Hustlers University and War Room as well, from 0 to, I think, Daniel, what was it, 150,000 members?
Hey everyone, yeah, 0 to 150,000.
Yeah, so he was there from the start of that insane year that, you know, Tate had coming up. He was also there pretty much for the rise of War Room, and he recently left to more so focus on pursuing his personal brand and just started posting some awesome content on YouTube. Daniel and I spent a couple weeks together in Cape Town. We stayed in the same place along with Oscar. So got to know each other a little better there and had a lot of fun in Cape Town. And in addition to that, Daniel's also just taught me a ton from his wisdom and the stuff that he's learned himself in crypto and investing in general. And I think one of the coolest things that I give Daniel so much hype for, but he's such a good educator. Like, he's really good at breaking down concepts and sharing them. And it's also, Daniel, I think we talked about this, like, it's one of your biggest passions, is just like actually helping people learn shit. So I'm really excited for this call. I think to start, we'll kind of just go back and forth. Daniel and I had like a little topic lineup, but programming your mindset for success in business and life, insights from Tate, working directly up with him, the man himself in Hustlers University. The Blur airdrop just happened, making $100,000 and how to spot the next ones, and also making money online, everything related to sales, marketing, and business. Guys, in addition to like being being the crypto professor for Tate, Daniel also pretty much like ran the sales team at one point, Daniel, right? Like, you started out doing sales at like a crazy level and was just working 16-hour days within that operation. So I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely not the only one, but I felt almost alone in my peer group. Like, when I'm around Daniel, I'm like, dude, you literally just built like the biggest fucking company in the world in like 12 months. And for him to be inside building that operation, I think it is just so cool. So Daniel, thanks for taking time to hop on with the boys in the tribe. Everyone's super excited to learn. If at any point you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. But yeah, Daniel, how you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for the intro. I appreciate that. That's it was a really good message. And thanks everyone for being on the call. I'm really keen to have a conversation and talk about whatever questions you guys have and the topics we have, and yeah, try to give everyone some value. I don't know where you'd want to start, if we want to start with people's questions or what any of the topics, but yeah, I'm just keen to be here for however long we're here and just, you know, talk.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll just we can just go back and forth, Daniel. But I think, why don't you share just a little bit about how you got started in Hustlers University and what that was like, sharing that experience, and then I would say like the biggest lesson that you learned from working directly with the Tates.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Yeah, so it's crazy because I have screenshots of this, by the way. On day one of Hustlers University, when we had 0 students, the Discord was empty. Luke and the Tates were saying, we're going to get this to 100K students guaranteed. Like, it's only a matter of time. Won't take that long. We're going to get 100K students. Your job as professors is to retain. Your job is to keep everyone inside. We'll get you 100K students. It's your job to keep them. So the crazy thing about the Tates is everything they say is going to happen pretty much happens. Like, imagine you start a fresh company, you have $0 of income, you don't even have proof of concept. It's not even a business that's ever existed before. And imagine you're saying with complete conviction, yeah, we're going to get this to like 10 mil a month within a year. Like, it's fucking nuts. No one else like really talks like that. And that's when you know you're working with a big hitter. It's when they basically put out a goal, and then they work super fucking hard to make that goal real, and they know that they can genuinely achieve it. And every day the Tates would work nonstop. Like, I know now when I see different companies in the crypto space, when I'm evaluating what to invest in, I know what a good company looks like now, because Hustlers University was a great company. And you see the patterns of what a really good fucking worker is. And then you see the patterns of what some get rich quick, I'll make 10 mil from my project and bail looks like. And we do not want to invest in those projects. So yeah, like the Tates are the hardest workers I've ever come across. I would argue that the best salesmen on the planet, to be honest. I can't think of a better sales funnel, a better marketing sort of a better marketing structure than what the Tates have. So yeah, I got started from day one, and yeah, it's just fucking crazy. Like, every day we have a graph of the student count, and we look at it every week. And the graph literally until 150,000 students didn't have a down day. We didn't have a down week or a down day. It went up like this the entire way, just more and more parabolic, the entire thing. So as the group got bigger, it didn't grow slower, it grew faster. Because as the group gets bigger, you get more affiliates. The affiliates promote more. It just fucking compounds like insane. So yeah.
Because you mentioned a bit about them being the best salesmen and obviously marketers that you've ever seen. What would you say you learned about, and I remember you told me about this, like what the Tates did with their marketing is they basically built like the perfect, and we kind of joke about this now, but like they built like the perfect customer through their marketing.
Yeah. So every business, the content they create, it's all material that's trying to reprogram you to be someone who buys their product, right? Whether it's implicit, like a Nike ad showing someone with a 6-pack to make you want to buy their shoes, or whether it's explicit with, you're poor, why are you poor? You shouldn't be poor, you should be rich. And, you know, all along that spectrum, every business is trying to program you to buy their product. And I think of all the businesses on the planet, the Tate organization is the best at giving you education, helping you, and also reprogramming you to turn you into a perfect customer, which is someone who's ready to buy, full conviction, belief in themselves, working with speed, making bets on themselves, investing in their network, investing in their education, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the difference between most marketers and the Tate organization is the Tates, they were trained by a hypnotist to do sales, and hypnotism and sales are similar. Hypnotism is almost like the next level of sales and marketing, right? Because all sales material, it's just trying to hypnotize you to buy a product, right? So yeah, that's one of the big differences in why they're so much better than most people at it.
Shit, that's crazy. I didn't hear that anywhere. You never even told me that they worked with a hypnotist.
Yeah,
Also,
you know
guys,
the
drop type 100 in the chat for Daniel dropping all this alpha on the Tates back end and their business. Everyone
yeah,
type 100 in the chat for Daniel.
yeah, they were trained by a hypnotist on, and that hypnotism is sales. It's convincing someone to do something or convincing someone to believe something. Now, this is all for the best of intentions, by the way. I don't say this in a negative way. This is an absolutely positive way. It's sales is, as a part of a business, it's just how you get customers. So it's just how it is. If they're trying to hypnotize someone to do something, you know, illegal, that's not good. But it's with the best of intentions. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe hypnotizing girls to sex traffic.
Yeah, okay,
we won't go there.
Okay. Well, yeah, we won't go there, but maybe I'm just talking about the business side for Hustlers Uni. But yeah, that side of things, different story. Yeah.
100%. Someone asked, or Freedom Fitness asked, what's your biggest advice on mindset? What's your focus or thoughts like on a daily basis?
Yeah, well, in Hustlers Uni, one of my main things I taught about was mindset. So I had like a full mindset sort of course in there, and it's such a big topic. I don't really know where to start with mindset. Like, that's such a broad question. Like, the mindset topic's it's really broad. I wouldn't know where to start on that question. What's your focus thoughts like on a daily basis?
Yeah, I'm curious to know, like, you're like on a daily basis, like, are you so focused on business every single day, like in terms of your mentality, like what's going on in your head, and what advice would you have for somebody to become a successful entrepreneur like yourself in terms of those thoughts and stuff? If that makes sense.
Yep, that's a good question. I can answer that. I would say mindset, and like having a good mindset, it's a habit, like going to the gym. So when you wake up, when you might not feel like going to the gym, right? But you make yourself go anyway. When you want to grow in your personal life, often you'll have to make investments, or you'll have to make decisions which feel uncomfortable, but you know you have to do it anyway. And an example of this is the speed at which you make a decision. So a good habit that you need to implement is making fast decisions. When I decided to work with the trainer that Arlin has, Lou, the thought process for that was about an hour of thinking, and then the decision was made. Like that like you don't spend a week thinking about, am I going to do this? When you think about it, a decision realistically only takes about 30 to 60 minutes to think all the different possible scenarios through before you end up just thinking about the same thoughts again, and it becomes wasted time. So realistically, like, if you just sat down in a room and meditated and thought, should I do X for half an hour? You would think of everything you would need to think about to make the decision. Most people, in fact, almost everyone, spends more than that 30 minutes. And what they'll do is they'll spend 10 minutes, and then their friend will come in the room, and then they'll have a conversation, they'll get distracted. And then they'll spend another 2 minutes thinking about the same thing. And then they'll get a message pop up. Oh, Instagram, some girls messaging me, and they'll get distracted talking to some chick. And they never actually take the time to think something through, make the decision, and then move on to the next thing. So let's say there's a network you want to join. Let's say there's some sort of educational course. Let's say there's some event you want to go to. Let's say there's a girl you want to talk to. Make the decision within 30 to 60 minutes, because any longer, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're decreasing the speed with which you can grow. And every time I've joined a network like GCC or War Room or any of these things, the thought process is half an hour. Do I want to do it? Yes or no? Make a decision. And once it's made, you stick to it. So and as you grow, you need to do more and more of these decisions, and they get bigger and bigger. And it's a constant battle, right? Because when you're broke, maybe the decision's like, should I spend $50 on Hustlers University? But then when you're like a millionaire, it's like, should I spend like 10K on some fucking, like, should I spend 10K on a networking group, right? It's a bit of a different playing field. But yeah, that's what I'd say. It's a daily habit of making fast decisions.
Dan, I found this. I pulled this up. This is in your, I found this in Dan has his Mastermind training now. But this is smart. That I had never seen this, and I thought this was the coolest fucking shit ever. So this is basically what Daniel was explaining, where the probability of a successful decision, the peak of it is around 30 minutes to an hour. And that's because like if you only think about something for like 5 minutes, you're going to forget about some shit. But then as time goes on, you know, around like 30 minutes to an hour, you hit like you've pretty much considered almost all the options. But then like a few days go by and it actually goes down because now you're overthinking and yeah.
That's exactly it. I'm glad you found that. I don't know how you managed to do that.
It's stuck in my head, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like you're a good teacher. Like I remember this shit.
That is such an important photo. Did everyone see that? Did everyone understand that? I think it's really important you all get that and fully conceptualize it. Like, let me know in the chat. Say yes, say 100 if you understood it. 100. Okay, cool. Good. So you all understood it.
Someone
yeah,
said,
that's the biggest thing, right? And that when there's all these guys on Twitter who talk about sales and stuff. And it's funny because all the sales guys, they talk about this because this is actually a sales concept, right? When you're, let's say you're selling War Room, or let's say someone's selling let's say you're selling anything, right? You want someone to make a fast decision. So this is all the sales guys talk about this. And when you guys get into sales, it actually programs you to help yourself, because this concept I learned from doing sales, right? I realized I looked at the people who got success in a program and I looked at the people who didn't get success. The ones who got success were like, fuck yeah, sign me up, I'm joining now. The ones who failed were hesitating. They were being pussies for like weeks. Like, I don't know, let me go ask my wife. Let me think about it. And so like sales is really good for learning the correct mindset for your own life, not just for the people you're talking to. And that's why I tell everyone, like, sales is the perfect foundational skill set to learn if you're not making, you know, already 10, 20K a month. Like, just get into sales, build that foundation up, and you'll fucking smash anything you do.
People are asking about how you initially got connected to the Tates and how you transitioned into the professor role.
That's a great question. The Tates exclusively hire from within the War Room. So if you want to work in any role within any of their companies, you just have to be a War Room member. So in the War Room, I was the crypto guy, right? Because I just gave value all the time. I was constantly in the groups like, hey guys, this is my thoughts on this investment. Hey guys, you should do this airdrop, this NFT. I made a guide talking about crypto, gave everything away for free, right? And you build a reputation inside of a high value network, and you just become the guy for certain things. So when they made Hustlers University, they were like, who's our best crypto guy? And there was a few of us and we got picked for the role. So yeah, that's basically how I got picked. It was inside the War Room.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, that's how I end up picking people to work for me mostly. And yeah. I mean, people who run companies like that, they notice the people who are contributing, and definitely doesn't go unnoticed.
Because that's the thing, right? Like, let's talk about that. One of the things I recommend for anyone wanting to get in the online space is join a program that teaches you something in the online space and become the #1 student. Like, how many people have you hired from within your groups, Arlin? And would you recommend that as an approach for pretty much everyone?
Yeah.
Yep. And so like, I feel like if I'm trying to get into the online space, what I do is I'd find the best person online, I'd join their program, and I'd just become their best student. I would work for them for free. I would basically become their like little slave. And then you end up getting hired within the company. That's what I'd do. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's great advice. I mean, if anything, you actually just learn a shit ton. Like, if you don't get a job, you at least like learn shit, and you just become the best student. And you become popular, you know, within the community. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we covered like your journey getting into business with the Tates. What would you say? Because I mean, you spent a little bit of time with Andrew in person as well. Like, what do you say? What would you say you learned directly from him and Tristan, I suppose, like just in how they operate?
Yeah, so I spent a little bit of time with him in person, but not a crazy amount of time. I would say what you think they'd be, this big hyped up vision, is actually very much what they are. Like most people, they have an online presence and the in real life presence is underwhelming. But for the Tates, it's actually almost, they don't get hyped up enough in terms of how they actually operate in real life. Like he doesn't ever talk about how hard he trains or how much he works, but he actually does work insanely hard. Whenever I was there, he's like always on his phone. It's either he's fully engaged in a conversation, 100% his brain's on, activated, focused on you, or he's on his phone working and he's not giving anyone else the space. And it's either on or off. So it was very much like a switch. And it was like, you know how most people, like very amateur, like they'll be like tired and they'll sort of listen to someone talking and like, it's like, wake up. No, the Tate's never like this. They're like constantly caffeinated, like engaged in a conversation, on or off. So that was a big thing that I noticed.
That was something that you told me in Cape Town. And I actually really remember that. And I actually made that a focus of mine. Like, because I noticed, it's funny, actually, particularly talking to my mom or dad, I would kind of be half listening as I was like doing some other shit. But then I started thinking like whenever, and this kind of gets a little like metaphysical, spiritual, but like whenever someone is in your field of view, like in your presence talking to you, in my view, that's like the universe or God, whatever you'd like to call it, putting that person in front of you to give you something, right? So like I think you should be fully, it's basically being present, right? But why would you ignore someone who is literally in your physical presence that you could be, there's billions of people in the world, but this one person is in your presence. How are you not fully giving them time and attention right now?
100% agree. And I do the same thing. And it's something I would need to work on. Like when you're with family, because you spend so much time with them, you sort of tune out. Let's say you go to a networking event with someone you've never met, you'll be clicked on. But when it's with someone you've known for decades, it's something that's an active effort. So I 100% agree.
Let's go into a little bit of crypto. So, what are your favorite new narratives for crypto's next bull run besides AI? And then the second part of the question is, do you feel that ETH will outperform Bitcoin next run?
That's a good question. So we'll start with the narratives. About 2 months ago, I released a guide at the exact crypto bottom, and the guide was about what investment theses I think will be the best going forward. And I talked about a couple. The main one was one called NFT exchange tokens. This is something that I came up with. No one else had talked about it at the time. And it's currently the biggest narrative on Twitter, on YouTube, and everything. It's about the Blur airdrop. And so in December, I was like, NFT exchange tokens are the next big thesis. NFTs are going to become much more like the token market. We're going to have much more liquid markets where people are trying to trade and flip NFTs. Royalties are going to go towards zero. Every NFT exchange platform is going to have their own token and all these different things, right? So I think one of the biggest trends is going to be NFT platforms having their own token, because a lot of them don't have a token, right? OpenSea, the biggest NFT marketplace, doesn't have its own token. That's really weird. I would say it's likely that OpenSea would have its own token within this year, because OpenSea is now losing because all these other platforms, they're making a token and they're attracting people from OpenSea using this token, right? Everyone has heard about Blur. There's some of you in the chat who've probably never done crypto when you heard about this Blur airdrop thing. You're like, what the fuck's this? Everyone has heard about it. And so all the attention's on Blur, this coin, it's all this money. People are going to move away from OpenSea because of this sort of trend. And this is what I was talking about in the thesis that I made up in December. That's my number one. Number two is probably going to be gaming, I would say. One thing I also did this month, I briefly made a Web3 gaming team for the Dookie Dash Dookie Dash game by Yuga Labs. And Yuga Labs is the largest NFT project in crypto. They own the Bored Apes, they own the punks, they own everything, right? And yeah, this was the tweet that I did in October. NFT exchange tokens. I literally came up with the thesis, and now everyone talks about it, except they give it different names. They call it like NFT coins, some shitty name. They should call it my name, which is the exchange tokens. My name's much better. Sounds much more professional. And yeah, the video's down there. So I would say gaming's the next big thing. So Yuga Labs, the CEO of Yuga Labs, the largest NFT exchange token, is a new guy. He got voted in December. He's the ex-president of Blizzard. Blizzard owns World of Warcraft, which is pretty much like the largest it's like the largest MMORPG, right? I don't play World of Warcraft, but I'm pretty sure it's like one of the largest games on the planet. And
World of Warcraft is what guys do before they join Tribe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that the ex-president of that game, that the company that owns that game and many others, is now the CEO of Yuga Labs. So Yuga Labs is the largest NFT project. They're making these games, and they're going to turn the NFT space into a huge Web3 gaming ecosystem, and it's going to be fucking huge. And all these Fortnite professional gamers, Web2 professional gamers are coming across from these games where there's money they can make, and it's absolutely insane. So that's the next big niche. It's NFT gaming. It's going to be those two are my favorite.
So I want everyone to pay careful attention here too, because I actually didn't realize this. So in October, when you were kind of studying the market, and you came up with this NFT exchange token thesis, that was like, how did you figure that out, A? And B, did you you never heard that anywhere else? You just made it up, right?
I made it up. I had to make up a name.
I just want to point that out, because anyone here who's watched Tribe Accelerator Week 3, I talk about, God spoke it through him. Exactly. I talk about making up your own names for shit. And like, people at the highest level of mastery will make up their own names. You guys see me do it in Tribe Accelerator all the time. Like, half the shit I talk about in Tribe Accelerator, there isn't a name for it. So I have to make up a name. NeuroBranding. Yeah. I mean, like, I talked about it in week 3 of NeuroBranding. I made up the word NeuroBranding, by the way. So I want you guys to notice that. And yeah, I just find that pretty funny and interesting. He literally like created it. I thought that it was just a thing, but it was a thing you created. That's cool.
Well, I mean, there was other NFT platforms that had their own coins, but I don't think anyone really was calling it NFT exchange tokens. They might have called it like an NFT. Like they have different names. They have NFT Fi, NFT coins. There's a bunch of different names, but I pretty much branded that name because no one was really I don't think anyone was saying it. But anyway, that's like
really good at this as well. I mean, with the Tates are really good at this as well. I remember you were explaining me like the internal workings of how they built Hustlers University and how they have like their own names for, like, they have the professors, they have the apprentices, they have like, I mean, I don't even know what happens in War Room. I know you guys got a lot of weird lingo going on in there, but like it is everywhere internally. And then look at the whole language. Talk about Tribe Accelerator concepts. The entire language that Tate built, Top G, Bugatti. Like, this is, you can say things and people know you're talking about Tate without knowing that you're actually talking about him just by saying other words. You have any thoughts on that, Daniel?
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know how the Tates came up with their branding words. A lot of people do this. I would say they just talk shit and Bugatti just becomes the word. I don't think Tate purposefully bought a Bugatti because he knew Bugatti would become his like slogan. I don't know if he purposefully, like, I don't know how he came up with Top G.
He had to know. Are you serious? Come on.
Yeah, this is even beyond my understanding. I would guess that I don't know. Yeah. I know that with professor and apprentices, they don't really put too much thinking into it. They just come up with an idea and they stick with it. They think about it for 5 minutes. What is the best possible name, consider all scenarios, and then that's just the name they do. Professors just made sense. It's like it gives instant, it just sounds like someone who you should listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of words within Warren.
Daniel, could you also kind of give a brief overview of just like your mindset around investing in crypto here? Out of curiosity, before we go into this, how many people here type 100 in the chat if you own crypto? And then type 0 in the chat if you do not own crypto. Okay. 1.
1.
Okay, so I think majority own crypto. Maybe looks like maybe 60-40 or so. What would you say is like your overall mindset when it comes to just like thinking about crypto? Because you have an interesting mindset here as well.
Yeah, well, just because, so some people have said 0 and I'm laughing, but I actually don't think that's a bad thing. If you are not making 5K a month, if you are not like already getting yourself cemented into an industry where you can make a lot of money from, there's no real point doing crypto. It's like, imagine you want to get a girlfriend, right? To get a girlfriend and you've never spoken to a girl before, the first step is not going to be like asking a girl to be your girlfriend. It's not going to be some late stage thing. If you've never spoken to a girl and you want to get a girlfriend, you probably should just go into the gym first. Do something totally unrelated to talking to the girl first. Because let's say you're overweight and you haven't seen the sun in 6 months and you have no social skills. You're not going to go directly out to talk to a girl. You're going to work on yourself first. So a lot of people, they're like, got $2,000 in the bank. They've got nothing. And they're like, what coin should I buy? I'm saying, bro, work on yourself first. You have nothing. Like, you're like the fat guy who's asking how to get a girl. Bro, get into the gym. Build the foundations first and then worry about that shit. So a lot of you guys in here, maybe you're making money. That's good. You should do crypto. But a lot of you wouldn't have money yet. And so that's fine. Don't do crypto. I would say before you do crypto, pick an industry where you want to cement yourself in, where you want to sort of rise up the ranks. So let's say sales. Get yourself to where you're making a decent amount of money and sort of get some momentum in that sort of area before you go into crypto. Because let's look at the different investments you can make, right? There's 6 different investments you can make. You can invest in your network, you can invest in mentors, education, crypto, businesses, or fuck, there was one more. Network, mentors, businesses, education, investable assets, so crypto, and there's one more, but there's about 6, okay? Of the methods that you can invest your money in to get a return, at the beginning of your journey, crypto is the slowest. Let's say you doubled $2,000. You literally are still poor. Nothing changed. Literally nothing changed. Money doesn't matter. You didn't do anything. Let's say you have $5,000 and you invest into a program to learn how to make 10K a month from sales. Like, what's the return potential on that investment? There is such a much more larger upside investing into network, mentors, education, and stuff at the beginning of your journey than it is to do crypto. So, for example, I joined War Room when I was making like, I don't know, I had like 5K in the bank, to be honest. But having access to this network as I was building the skills that I had allowed me to make correct investments. It allowed me to build businesses. It allowed me to have access to mentors and work with the Tates, right? What do you think would have given me a better return? Putting that 2K into Ethereum, or putting the 3K into Ethereum, or putting the 3K into War Room access? What do you think's given me a bigger return? Like, it's not even comparable. The return is a million X. No fucking coin is going to give you the return you can get investing into yourself at the beginning of your journey. And I'm sure Arlin agrees here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even I've invested a large sum into crypto. We talked about this. I had some pretty awful losses because I was an idiot and I didn't join Daniel's mastermind and listen to him. And I put like 6 figures or so into a couple places, one of them being Celsius. And I lost it all. Yeah, so it was really bad. And imagine if I had taken that and I had put it like, let's say theoretically I took like $100,000 and I even took it and paid like Alex Hormozy for like a 2-hour mentoring session, because that's probably what he charged. I guarantee you that would have been far more worth it than keeping it, well, obviously losing it. But like, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've spent so much money on myself, and it's gotten to the point now where I don't know, it's just like if something seems like it can teach me a little, I just like throw money at it. Like even Oscar, right? Like Oscar's mentorship with the raw milk and raw eggs and you know, that lifestyle. I knew going into it that I wasn't going to eat raw meat forever. Like I just and Daniel's kind of the same. Like I knew like there's no way I'm just going to never cook my food again. Like Oscar hasn't cooked food in 3 years. I'm like, that's not me. That's not for me. I'm good. I like my restaurants. I like my food. But I knew if I could learn a little bit, like if I could just learn one more thing to add to my diet from Oscar, then it will have been worth it. So I invested in his program, and he's my friend. Like, you know, it's like, it's just, if I can get a slight edge, it's worth it. So, okay. So Daniel, can you share a little bit more? So you talked about like basically who shouldn't get into crypto, but for those that should, you talk about how crypto is like basically this giant Ponzi scheme, which is ironic for someone who like, you know, you spend a lot of your time talking about crypto, educating and investing. So why would you even participate in a Ponzi scheme? And what does that mean?
Yeah, I think pretty much everything that involves money is a Ponzi scheme, because, and this is a bit of a deep rabbit hole, but pretty much everything's a Ponzi scheme. Retirement funds are a Ponzi scheme. So because pretty much everything is a Ponzi scheme, the question is not, do I invest in a Ponzi or not? It's what Ponzis make the most sense for me. And for me, being a young person with a high risk tolerance, with big goals, the Ponzi scheme that makes the most sense for me is crypto. And it's the Ponzi scheme that I'm most interested in. And often in life, sometimes in life, it's not about what's the best investment. It's about what's the one that I'm going to put the most time into. See if like, let's see what's the difference between becoming a pro soccer player and a professional surfer? Well, there's no money in professional longboarding. There's a lot of money in being a pro soccer player. But if I fucking hate soccer, there's no point picking the better sport in terms of income. You're better off picking the sport that makes less money that you'd much more prefer to do. So I find stocks so boring. Ooh, I don't want to hear about Microsoft's earnings. Fuck that. I'd rather do crypto. So crypto is a good thing, because not only is it the best place to have your money, it's also the one that I'm most interested in. It's a perfect combination. And I want to also cover who is the right person to invest in crypto then, because we covered who isn't. So if you look at your situation, let's pretend you can like compare your situation as a person to that fat person who wants to talk to girls. Ask yourself, do you feel like you've gone to the gym in terms of like the income side of things? Do you feel like you've lost that fat weight? You have social skills. Do you feel like you've got those foundations in place in terms of your income side of things? So you're at the point where you have capital that you can put in the crypto. If you feel like you're not that fat person anymore who can't talk to girls, then that's the type of person who should get into crypto. And I think Tribe being like, if you're in Tribe, that means you're investing in yourself. It means you've already invested in yourself. You're already getting the foundations in place. So a lot of you probably are. And what's
Guys,
this document?
Daniel has that's your Ponzi scheme. Daniel has a great Ponzi scheme. Just going to link that down there. And also, guys, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Who here has applied to Daniel's mastermind, by the way? Just show of hands. I know like half you guys have your camera off. but who here's applied? Okay, so guys, seriously, if you are not, as Daniel would identify, the fat guy in the sitting on his couch, then I highly recommend applying. And yeah, it's normally a lot more expensive, but I worked out a deal for everyone who follows me for Daniel. So you guys should absolutely check that out. And guys, drop questions in the chat. Daniel's here. We've got plenty more time. Me and him can talk for hours. So I want you guys to all ask a question.
There's one here. It's about where do I source the information from to make that makes me different from other investors? That's a really good question. So being in crypto for 5 years and going from knowing nobody and having to rely on Twitter to having a network where you don't really need to have Twitter and YouTube and podcasts and all this shit and listening to other people, you realize how crypto actually works. It's basically 1% of dudes at the top who all know each other, who all help each other to take the 99% money. So if you are not in that top network, you're a part of the 99% where all your money is being extracted. And the people who are taking your money are the VCs, the project founders, the people who run the groups in the space that teach you stuff, the traders who are really, really fucking good, and just the top 1%. And they extract money from all the other idiots who don't know anyone, who don't really know what they're doing, who believe that crypto isn't a Ponzi scheme, who make investments in nice sounding projects, who have good partnerships, who partner with Binance, and they really care about their community and all this bullshit. So what makes me different from other investors? Well, the 99% think that crypto isn't a Ponzi, and they think that they can go on Twitter, read a tweet from some guy that says, this is a really good coin, and think that that's all they need to do to make money in crypto. Well, no, you're competing against the 1% at the top who all know each other, who are taking your money. And to get to that level, it took me like 4 years. And I've spent over $200,000 investing into my network to be able to get around the right people who I now work with on a day-to-day basis, basically comparing ideas. So there was one investment that I made that was entirely, I'll admit, it was not from me. It was entirely from a friend who pointed it out to me. The Dookie Dash thing, that investment I didn't know anything about. But I had a friend who told me all about it because my friend had literally, all he does is Yuga Labs NFTs. And so when you are, and also keep in mind, like every day I'm meeting new people. Last week, I met one of the largest Yuga Labs investors he owns multiple 8 figures of Bored Apes and many different projects. So what's this here? Yeah, so basically the guy I met, he's worth multiple 8 figures, and he has one of the largest holdings of Bored Apes. I hope all of you know what Bored Apes are. It's just one of the largest NFT projects in the space. And we're working together on this Web3 gaming team. So you just end up, and the more people you meet, the more people you can meet, right? It's exponential. I'm sure Arlin agrees. Like it's very easy for you to network now because you have a network.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if you're someone looking to invest in crypto and not be a part of the 99% of idiots, you have 2 choices. You either do what I did, which is like 4 years and so much money and so much time invested into trying to build your own network, or you pay to put yourself in the right places to get the right information. And I've personally paid to get myself in certain places for certain information. That's from joining networks and masterminds and different things. And every time I've done that, it's paid off. And so it's not like I don't do this myself. I do this a lot as well. So.
Okay, next question from, let's see. Adam asks, or actually Vincent's next. Thoughts on collector DAOs?
I'm honestly not really a fan of DAOs. Whenever someone mentions a DAO, I get an ick because I know that all great companies came from one leader directing the direction of everyone else. The world is built on leaders directing others, and Dows are sort of this like airy fairy place where everyone tries to collaborate together. And I don't think idiots should be making decisions when there is someone much more competent who can make a decision. I think a company with a founder who decides everything at the end of the day is a much better structure than 10 dudes, 8 of them are fucking idiots, contributing to the direction of a company when they're clearly fucking clueless. So I don't like DAOs. I don't even know what a collector DAO is, to be honest. I just avoid DAOs altogether. And I'm also disappointed in Blur, because Blur is shifting towards a DAO structure. The reason Blur was so successful is their team is fucking genius. And now they're going to make this DAO where all these idiots are going to start contributing. I don't like it. So yeah, I don't like DAOs. And I'm honestly, unless I saw something that convinced me that DAOs are the right structure, maybe human nature changes and we worked better when there's 10 dudes who all collectively make decisions. I don't know. I like a structure where it's a CEO of a company who directs the direction. I don't like DAOs. It's not my edge, and I don't like.
How did you know I mean, you said you knew that the team for Blur was pretty much genius. How did you know that?
So Blur and OpenSea are competing against each other at the bleeding edge of NFT innovation. And it's like a chess game, right? So OpenSea would do something that would basically almost destroy Blur. They'd make some move like, we're not allowing NFT collections that trade on Blur to get volume from OpenSea. They do little things like this. And Blur would basically, if any other company, be fucked. They would be killed. It was like a competition. But Blur somehow always came up with some sort of little innovation that allowed them to circumvent their way around the changes in regulations from OpenSea, the number one competitor. And I was so shocked every time it happened. It happened a few times in the past few months. OpenSea does something that fucks with Blur. Blur innovates something that's never been seen before within a week, and they basically get the one up on OpenSea. And they, over multiple times of basically beating OpenSea's attack, they now are at a level where OpenSea and Blur are competing for the top spot. So yeah, it was just like a fast executing team is a good team, because in crypto, the space changes every day. If you can't move fast, then you're gonna fall behind.
Daniel, how old are you? What was the most difficult year of your life, and what lesson did you learn from it?
So I'm 23. Most difficult year. I mean, a lot of people say they have this like story of like coming from the bottom, life was really hard, and that gave them the motivation to go to the top. I never really had a crazy difficult life, so I can't really say like one year was like, obviously we have tough years, but I'm not going to say it was a difficult year compared to other people's. Like I know people who've had much worse years than me. So I don't even know, difficult year. I've never had a difficult year. I might have had a difficult month, but there was never like one year where I allowed myself to have difficulty for 365 days, because pretty much everything is completely in your control outside of like physical disabilities or mental disabilities. So how could I have an entire year where things went against me? That doesn't make any sense. Like you just solve whatever the problem is. I don't know. What lesson did you
cured his depression with his mind?
Okay, maybe when I was like 13, I was like depressed for a year, but that was like fake depression from seeking validation, like some bullshit weird thing when you're like a kid. You do weird things. So, but that doesn't count. I'm not going to count that. Okay.
What are your thoughts on angel investing into crypto companies versus actively participating in protocols?
Yeah. So early stage investments is something I'm going to be getting into more in this bull run because of the connections I have. I didn't have these connections last bull run to do any angel VC investments. I also didn't have the capital back then. So I think early stage investing is the best way to do things, because you have an edge over other people because of the price you enter at and the time that you're entering. And also when you do angel VC investments, you really get to know the team. So I know what a good team is now. I've met the Tates. I've seen a good team. If I can meet the team in person, shake their hand, what are you guys doing? I can see what, how much rubbish is in their room. I can see like how big their belly is. Like, are they going to sit at their computer all day? Okay, great. That's a good person. I can see what would make a good founder. So angel investing, yeah, it's great if you know what you're looking for. Actively participating in protocols, I do that as well. The Blur airdrop was me actively trading hundreds of thousands of dollars on their platform every single day, spending like $30,000 in fees to make money. So yeah, both are good.
I don't know, William, I don't know exactly what you're asking. Biggest takeaway, limit paying for confidence. Can you clarify that, William? Or, oh no, that's not a question. That's just a point.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Not be the 99%.
I recognize Will. I remember you.
Yes. Will was in Cape Town. He also won the Bali giveaway.
Ah, fuck yeah.
Which was pretty fucking insane.
It's rigged.
Dude, I honestly, like, if I did rig it, I probably would have picked William, which is actually hilarious. Okay. You mentioned you spent $200K finding the right network. How do you think about how your YouTube channel can impact that? Which is the best social media in your mind to connect with the right people?
Yeah, this is heading into Arlin territory, but so you can let me know what you think of my answer. I think YouTube is really good for. So Grant Cardone was asked, of all the social medias that he makes money from, what was the best one? What was the most impactful? Grant Cardone said YouTube. He's running one of the largest personal brands on the planet. I think if I look at Tate and what got him to growth, it was YouTube and TikTok, specifically TikTok in the later stage. But it was really YouTube that did the legwork of turning someone from a first-time viewer to a cult follower. So YouTube is, in my opinion, the best place to build a really strong connection with your audience. Maybe it's not the best networking tool. I'd say the best networking tool might be Instagram. But this is definitely Arlin's territory, and I'm not a big guy on Instagram. So maybe Arlin should comment on this one too.
My comment would be that, because now like people's mind goes, okay, so does this mean I have to start YouTube? I honestly believe, just looking at the social media and business landscape, that either you already have a leg up right now and you have some kind of leverage to start your own personal brand, or if you really have no leverage and you're just kind of starting, do what we said earlier and try to get into someone's brand who has a growing personal brand. Because I heard that billionaire guy, Chamath Palihapitiya, say it, however you say his name, that if you look at like the patterns of business and innovation in the last 20 years, first you had like the internet come out. Then you had search engines, Google. Then you had the tech companies, Apple, obviously Amazon, Microsoft, right? Then you had the social media platforms. So these were the networks built on the Apples or the Microsofts. So this is, your Instagram, your Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube. And so Chamath was saying that the next big billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industry, he thinks, is creators and personal brands. So, I mean, you look at, like we were just mentioning, Grant Cardone, that's literally $1 billion enterprise. Just the name Grant Cardone as a personal brand. You have Alex Hormozi's personal brand. You have, look at Iman. Iman is going to be a billionaire before he's 30, like in terms of the value that he's created, whether he sells his tech company or whatever. And then, I start to reflect on myself, and I'm like, the only reason that my businesses have ever really made money is because of my personal brand and the name that I built. And I also look at, some of you guys might know Emmanuel. He actually works for Iman. And Emmanuel, he's closing $300,000 a month for Agency Navigator for Iman, and just do your commission percentage there, like if you can work for a fast growing personal brand, if you can't be it yourself, I think that's a really good business decision. And then on top of that, absolutely a good networking decision. My personal brand has led to more connections in my life than anything. I mean, I literally wouldn't have anything if I didn't start posting YouTube videos 7 years ago. It's just like, I can't think of how I would have possibly done something else. So yeah, absolutely, it impacts network. All right, back to Daniel. Daniel, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I was just going to add, and keep in mind, like, personal brands are like this super, like it's still quite a niche way to make money. Like there's 7 billion people on the planet, less than 0.01% probably have actually well-paying or like good income from a personal brand, probably less than that. So don't think that you have to put yourself in front of a camera and start filming short form TikToks. Like there's a lot of ways to make money. The best thing that you should do to start off is, like Arlin said, work inside of someone else's company. Like if you guys haven't worked inside of a 7-figure like per year or 7-figure per month company, you don't know what a good company looks like, and how are you supposed to make a good business if you've never seen one before? I think Arlin is a rare exception because you're obviously surrounded by good business people, and that would help. You, like, whenever you need help with anything business related, you can just send a message, boom, get help from anywhere. But for most people, you haven't been filming content even when you weren't making money like Arlin was. So it's probably best to work inside of a good company, see the inner workings of what a good company is, and then eventually go on to make your own if you like later on.
What's your main focus in crypto in 2023? DeFi is out of juice for now. Are you just investing in Web3 startups?
Yeah, DeFi sucks, and I never really got into yield farming. I think yield farming is the same as going to a different petrol station to save 5 cents. It's the same as collecting coupons to get 10% discounts. It's the same as when you go to buy a $50 t-shirt, typing in discount codes for Gucci or like fucking Zara. I think yield farming is just like, it's a bit gross in terms of the mentality. Like 5% a year, an extra 5% a year on my money, but I have to spend all this time finding the best platform, and I have to risk my capital on, Celsius. Like I find the whole thing a little bit disgusting in terms of the mentality I would need to go into in order to bring myself to do it. In crypto, I chase delta. Delta is the price change of the asset. So if I buy it at $1 and sell it at $2, that's what I'm in crypto for. I'm not here to collect 5-10% yield on my money. That's brokey shit. That's a brokey mentality. It goes against everything that I do. So I don't do that. My focus is basically investments. So NFT gaming, NFT exchange tokens, Ethereum, a big bag of Ethereum. That's my largest position. And I would say NFT perpetuals in the future. That's something I'm looking into. Decentralized perpetual exchanges, and a couple others. If you look at what is the one thing in common between all these projects, they're all the casinos. Investing in the casino is the best way to approach crypto. Don't dig for gold, sell the shovels. Don't dig for gold, invest in the shovels. Invest in the person selling the shovels. So that's the big thing. I'm basically just looking to own chunks of different casinos, the casinos that I think are going to print the most money. Because crypto is a casino, let's be realistic. Yeah, that's my focus. I think you're muted, yeah.
Yeah. How much money comes from your crypto investing versus your mastermind? Why spend any time at all teaching when you could go 100% in on crypto investing?
That's a great question. That's a good question. About 3 or 2.5 years ago, I was in university and I was studying a degree. It was a Bachelor of Education, which is a degree to become a high school teacher. The reason I did that degree is I've known ever since I was very young that I like teaching. My passion in life is literally just like teaching things. And I wasn't sure how to apply this passion. So the first thing I did was like, my parents were like, you should do a uni degree. So I went to do this teaching degree. And I was like, I don't like teaching this because it's not something I'm passionate about. And also there's a lot of restrictions and there's no income upside, right? Like how much does a teacher make? Not much money. So I dropped out after my first semester and I went all in on sort of online business and all that sort of stuff. So I could make more money investing without spending time teaching others. But also there's two big upsides from running a personal brand and having my own group. So number one is the networking side of things. It is crazy to me how many people I've met from having a personal brand. Like if I didn't have a personal brand, my network would be 20% of what it is because of my personal brand. And so making my personal brand monetizable makes the time invested into building the brand worth my time invested, right? So I like when I have a personal brand, I have an offer that makes me money, and I also get the networking. And also my main passion is teaching. So what's the point of getting rich as fuck if I'm not helping others? Like you look at every person who makes a lot of money, what do they do? Well, there's two paths. They either become a total degenerate and go down this negative spiral, or they end up just giving back and helping others. So I'm like, why wait till I'm a billionaire to help others when I can do it right now? And that's my main passion. So
yeah, guys, I want to be very clear. I would never promote someone else's program. Like, I don't think I've ever promoted anyone else's program other than my own ever. Like the only reason I'm promoting Daniel's is because I genuinely think it can help you guys. A couple points to back that point up. Daniel and I don't even remember exactly how we sort of connected or became friends, but how did we like initially even just GCC, right? And we just kind of.
Yeah, I think I met you firstly in London at the GCC meetup.
I think I was asking you some investing questions. I was like, Daniel, like, I don't know what to do. I've lost like 6 figures in crypto. Please help. And he was just very generous with his time. And then what happened was I realized just in talking to you about, working with Tates and all the messaging stuff, that you knew so much about sales and specifically about direct message sales. And Daniel literally offered to coach my appointment setting team for free. Like, he was like, yeah, just put me in a group chat. I'm like, do you want me to pay you? He's like, no, I just like doing this. Like he was literally, your words, Daniel, were, I like doing it because it helps me reinforce my own knowledge of sales. But I also think you just like teaching. And so my sales team got so much value from Daniel, just because obviously Daniel spent like a year doing sales and DM sales for the Tates. And now it's crazy. We get like 1 or 2 DM sales a day just directly from learning from what Daniel taught. Like we literally have that essential 8 in our Notion, Daniel, that you taught. And the guys go through that. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm just going to post this link again. A couple other points I want to say. I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys join this. One, because even if you aren't like, if you're on the verge of like making money, if you think you're going to make money in the next 1 to 3 years, this is an incredible opportunity, because the bull run, like the real investing is not really going to happen, right? Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, obviously there's the airdrops and projects like that, but I'm not going to start deploying like more serious capital until the markets start to really heat up again. And so even if you think you're going to start making your 5K a month, 10K a month in the next year to 3 years, I still think this is a good investment. And also, not to mention, in Cape Town, I was like, Daniel, like, you should be charging at least $10,000 for this, like direct access to you. This is not a mastermind where, you know, you don't get to talk to Daniel. You get to talk directly to Daniel, and he will answer your questions in depth. And it's till the end of the bull run. Do you have thoughts on that, Daniel? On what was I saying? I said a lot there.
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys don't get enjoyment from helping others and learning. Maybe other people don't get that, but I get genuine enjoyment from like teaching things that I know and like finding a way to explain something in a way that someone just goes, oh, like finally it makes sense. Like he explained it way better than I've ever heard before. So yeah, when I was helping that sales team, I don't know, I was just like, fuck, I love sales. And a lot of my content for my personal brand comes from realizations that I've had from doing sales. Like half the sales techniques that I've personally learned came from a conversation I'd have in like, you know, selling whatever I was selling. And I came up with something on the spot and I was like, fuck, that was like really smart. And then you like record that, and that's like a tweet, that's a video, that's like something in the future. So if you can maximize your time spent teaching and having your mind come up with new ideas, you're maximizing everything. Like if you can every week come up with an incredible new insight that people get a lot of value from, and you can find a way to distribute that, you are going to exponentially grow yourself in all areas of life, whether it's networking, personal brand, income in your businesses, opportunities in the future, everything. Like imagine if, Arlin, you went on every week, you had a new vlog like you do, and you put that everywhere. Like that, how much opportunities come from every new vlog that comes out? It's just insane. So
yeah, so insane. I mean, and it's funny too. It's actually, I've started to pick up on this. It's actually the vlogs. It's less my sit down videos. It's kind of a tangent. But yeah, like I start to catch like little comments specifically with the vlogs. People are like, oh, the vlogs, like, you know, they're my favorite. Like they like the sit down, like explaining stuff, but it's the vlogs that hit. So anyway, that's direction I'm going in. Was there another point? I think that it was something about, oh yeah. Would you recommend, like, if someone thinks they're going to be making, let's say 5K a month in a year, do you think you would still recommend this? Like your group?
If they're making 5K a month?
Yeah, like if they're not making 5K a month now, but they believe they're going to work their ass off in a year, they'll be making 5 to 10K a month, which
yeah,
then in the meantime,
I would say if you don't have 10 to 20K in savings, like if you're making 5 to 10K a month, I don't care how much savings you have because you've got income. You'll have savings in the future. But let's say you have no income. If you have no income, at least have 10 to 20K in capital. Yeah. Because you do need money to make money in crypto. Like the Blur airdrop, you needed a couple grand to farm the airdrop to make money. So yeah, if you don't have at least 10 to 20K, like it's not for you, but that's fine. The group's not for everyone. But yeah.
After all the money that you spent investing in your network, what unique industry aside from crypto have you seen heavy hitters operating in? I know what I would say. I would say the course space, like Chesters of the world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's just, yeah, Chester's a big hitter. Yeah. Chester's doing it. As weird as it sounds, a lot of the guys making a lot of money that I've met are in the OnlyFans industry. So yeah. I don't know. Like I got added to this weird OnlyFans group. I don't know how, some dude, and there's like 150 OnlyFans dudes in there, and they're all making like 20, 30K minimum. Some guys making like multiple million a year. So I'd say from the networking, I've met a lot of dudes making good money in OnlyFans. I definitely don't recommend it though. It's haram.
Thoughts behind shorting against coins with horrible tokenomics when they unlock?
This reminds me of a conversation I had in Cape Town with one of the guys.
Yeah.
William. So the thing with unlocks is sometimes it's priced in, sometimes it's not. So if you are purely shorting just because there's an unlock, there's no guarantee of making money because it really depends what the backdrop is with the market. For example, Solana bottomed when the unlock happened at about $3.50. And from then onwards, it went up to about $255 without much pullbacks at all, maybe a few months of downtrend. So if you shorted the unlock, you got absolutely fucking slammed. You got liquidated. But other times, unlocks happen and the price goes down. Another example of a bad timed unlock would be DYDX. So you shorted into the unlock and then they canceled the unlock. Oh no, guys, we're actually investors, they're going to keep their money locked for another year. Sorry, fucking price goes up, bull market starts for this coin. So I'm honestly not overly convinced on shorting unlocks because the meme now is unlocks are bullish. So everyone buys unlocks. If I was looking to short something related to an unlock, I would be doing it months in advance, and I'd be using a series of other tools to determine if that coin is worth shorting. And also horrible tokenomics, that doesn't exist. APT is one of the best performing coins, and it has like shitty tokenomics. It has an insanely high FDV. And so FDV used to be this thing that was really bad, like a huge fully diluted valuation. I don't want to get into too much complexity here, but I'll just say that APT tokenomics are not good, and that coin is one of the best performing ones. So
what are you guys, I want to hear more directly from everyone on this call. Like, just type in the chat what business you guys are in right now. Like, do you run a short form agency? Are you in sales? Who are you doing sales for? Are you doing appointment setting? Are you starting a personal brand? Do you have a coaching business? Do you do crypto full time? Web development courses. Very cool. Type them in the chat.
Door to door, nice.
Painting business, part-time freelance photo, logistics, coaching,
Setting, good.
personal brand, appointment setting, brand content strategy. Daniel, you want to talk about, I mean, maybe you could take someone here, but one thing I like that you taught my team about sales, which was more directly from Tate's sales team, and it more directly related to, Hustlers University and War Room selling. But the question that you guys would ask was like, so what's your plan? Can you talk about this idea of like people having a plan versus not having a plan?
So I want everyone to answer yes or no. Have you sat down at your computer and mapped out a full plan of how exactly you're going to get to become a millionaire within the next 2 to 5 years? Have you, whatever the time frame is, have you sat down and mapped out, okay, so I'm going to work this job and I'm going to try to network and I'm going to do this and I'm going to invest in this? Yes or no? Have you guys done this before? Okay, so becoming a millionaire is a top 1% or top 0.1% achievement, much the same as becoming a national level athlete at a given sport. Do you think you can become a professional soccer player without some sort of plan of getting there? Do you think it can just happen by accident? You can just kick a few soccer balls. Oops, I'm on the national team. I'm on the international soccer team. Yes or no? Answer in the chat. Do you think you can become a top level soccer professional player by accident? No. So half of you said no. Half of you will miserably fail to ever achieve wealth with your current trajectory. Half of you have no clue what you're doing. So the other half, you have a plan. Congratulations. You've done the bare minimum to become a millionaire. So the plan is really important, because if you have a goal, you have to have some sort of process to get there. Like, how the fuck are you going to become a millionaire if you don't even know what you're going to do? What, you're just gonna guess it? You're just gonna wake up day to day? That's what my girlfriend does. She doesn't want to think about money. She just wakes up every day. Let's hope Daniel becomes a millionaire so that I don't have to work. So yeah, there's a bunch. I don't want to like hate if there's women in the group here, but like I'm assuming you're all dudes.
There's not. There's dudes.
Okay, good. So yeah, like I don't know, like fucking make a plan. Like, why do you guys not have a plan? And this is what I teach in my mastermind, right? So if anyone joins, the first thing we do is we make a plan. And I sit one-on-one with you and I'm like, all right, fill this out. And I got Arlin to do it. Fill this out. We're going to talk back and forth on it. We're going to get your shit sorted because clearly something's not fucking working. Clearly there's been a gap in the thinking. Clearly high school has failed you. 12 years of high school, not once did they say, hey, you need to make a plan to achieve something. Like, how did that get missed out of the school curriculum? They'd be like going to cooking school and they don't tell you to turn the oven on to cook the chicken. Like, bro, it's the most essential part of the entire thing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on plans.
This is the best. This is the best part of the call. Comparing it to your girlfriend is so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you think you just wake up every day and la-di-da, I do appointment setting, I'll just do a few calls. One day I'll find a sugar daddy and he'll just make me rich. I'll just suck a few dicks and I'll be a millionaire. Yeah, it doesn't happen like that, unfortunately. Everything the Tates achieved was absolutely planned and it was thought through and it was executed on a day-to-day basis. Everything was expected. Nothing happened where it was like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Everything was planned. 100K students was not, oh, whoops. Day one, 100K students. That was the plan. I can send you all the screenshot of Luke saying, we're going to get 100K students. It's just a matter of time. So you guys need to do the same.
It's so fucking good.
Now, the problem with plans is if you've never achieved what you're trying to set out to do, it's sort of hard to figure out where to go. It's like, imagine you just entered a maze and you're trying to figure out how to get out of the maze. Well, clearly you don't know how to get out of the maze, but you can put in place plans and strategies and systems to help you navigate the maze and get out as quick as possible. And also, you can work with someone who's already gone through the maze you're trying to go through. So if you're trying to figure out how to get out of a maze and you have someone walking through the maze with you who's already escaped the maze, you're going to get out a lot quicker because he's going to be able to help you not go down that path that was a dead end. Oops, I started doing an internship at some fucking like newspaper company. Yeah, that was dumb. Newspapers are a dying industry. You should be in personal branding. Like, clearly you're going to help. If you have a mentor, he's going to be able to direct you in the right way. So how detailed are you planning? Well, the main thing is you want to implement habits and daily actions and daily steps of what you should be doing. So one habit we talked about was the speed of execution. So what's your plan to get rich? Well, my plan to get rich is every time there's a decision I need to make, I make the decision within 30 to 60 minutes. That's one part of your plan. You should all be writing this in your plan right now. And there's a number of other little steps that you can implement, habits that will help you get towards this goal. Now, you're also going to need to come up with what industries you're going to work in. So, and then why you're going to work in this industry. So let's say I'm going to be an appointment setter because appointment setting gets me a high ticket role and that's going to make me 20K a month. And that's going to allow me to drop university and live anywhere I want on the planet. Then I'm going to move to a cheaper country like Bali, where I can have a very low expense rate and a very high income rate. And I'm going to put my savings into my network so I can find better sales opportunities. And I'm going to put money into a mastermind so I can learn crypto. That'd be a good plan. Okay, so that's a good question, Will. So on the form, like 3 months prerequisite. Yeah, so on the form, I ask how much crypto experience you have. If you don't have much crypto experience, it's fine. I can work with you one-on-one to get you the foundations. If you don't have any crypto experience, you could still join. I could get you the basics, but it's preferred if you have at least some experience. But I can work with you.
It's also not that fucking hard. I mean, they can watch a few YouTube videos, like how to create MetaMask, like how to use Uniswap.
Yeah. Like if you're asking me like, is Binance good? I'm going to like forward you to an article on if Binance is good. I won't send you like a 5-minute voice message about about Binance. But if you ask me like, hey, Daniel, can you run over the exact strategy we're going to use to know exactly where to buy and sell? That's a better question.
So who's making a plan tonight, guys? I want everyone to make a plan. Make a plan to become a millionaire after this call, and post in the chat, guys, when you've completed the plan. Don't be a drifter. Don't be Mr. Struggle. Don't let Instagram distract you. Don't let your OnlyFans subscription distract you. Unsubscribe from that. And make a plan tonight, and then post in the group to hold yourself accountable once you've made your plan.
And if anyone wants the framework that I use to write plans, I'm happy to send this through. If anyone wants like a basic framework, because when we say like make a plan, you're like, oh fuck, like where do I start? I'm happy to give like the skeleton, and you can put the fat on it.
That'd be great. Let's end the call now on that note, Daniel, and then we can draft a little, or unless you already have it, and then I can post it in our chat so everyone has it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we can do that. And so, yeah, if you guys want the framework, we can send it. If anyone wants feedback from me, this is what I do inside the mastermind. Like I'm happy to send you guys the goals and plans list, but this is what I would do with someone in the mastermind. I'd work one-on-one to actually improve the plan. And there's usually like a lot of errors in people's thinking when they write these plans, like limiting beliefs, like gaps in understanding of what they should do. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but yeah, thank you for having me, Arlin, and really good questions you guys ask. You guys do ask very good questions, so I'm impressed.
Everyone say thank you in the chat. This is the first guest we've had on in quite a while, but I definitely want to do more of these. These are super fun, and Daniel's been graceful with his time. He could be with his fucking Russian side thing in Bali right now.
Yeah, I could be in the pool.
He's here on a mastermind call with us.
No, this is good. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Epic. All right, gents, have a great evening. I'll post a link to that. Daniel and I will I'll get that over to you, and we'll post that in the chat so you guys can start working on your plan.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, guys.